The nerves, the excitement, the anticipation.
I remember it all, standing right behind the platform where I'd lift the heaviest weight I have ever attempted. I shifted from one foot to the other, taking slow, deep breaths. I was shaking as if I was in the middle of a blizzard, but also sweating because of all the determination flowing through my veins. Then, they called my name. It was my turn. I slowly stepped up to the platform and took one last deep breath. I closed my eyes, bent down, and wrapped my hands around the loaded barbell. Then I began to lift the weight. At first, it seemed like it was not going to budge. But then, slowly, it began to rise, and I jumped with all my might to catch the weight on my shoulders. But I was only halfway there. I still had to push it above my head. I fixed my gaze straight ahead, focusing on nothing but accomplishing this lift. All the hours spent in the gym, all the times I had to step on a scale, all the tears, all the pain, all the progress, all the success, it all came down to these last few seconds. Would it all pay off? Would I get this lift? Weightlifting is something I could discuss for hours since it is a major part of my personal story. I was a competitive weightlifter all 4 years in high school. It taught me just as much mental discipline as it did physical discipline. The things I learned are things I will carry with me forever. It was also a blessing that I had amazing coaches who never turned down an opportunity to help me progress in my technique, as well as encourage me through the tough times. I never had much confidence, but through lifting, I was able to reach inward and find where God truly gifted me. Because of this, I was able to compete at a national level, something I never dreamed would be possible. I have had my proudest moments and my most disappointing moments as my time as a weightlifter, but it all shaped me into who I am today. I recommend this sport, not only because it helped me grow stronger, but because it can benefit anyone who decides to give it a try. Exercise has been around since the ancient Roman time period in the 3rd century AD. There, the Olympics began and became the birthplace of sports as we know it. The evolution, you could say, of sports has become a massive platform for all ages and all talents. However, today we will be looking at one particular sport. Not just any sport, but weightlifting. And not weightlifting in general, but specifically how weightlifting is beneficial for kids. When thinking of a sport for a young teen or child, I'll bet most don't automatically have weightlifting in mind. I'm sure you've all seen these tragic accidents in the gym of people trying to lift way too much and getting seriously injured. There's no way this can be a kid's sport, right? Well, actually, with the right technique and the right coaches, it most certainly can be. Weightlifting is an Olympic sport that works all muscle groups and increases muscle mass and bone density to help avoid illnesses such as arthritis, osteoporosis, and more painful issues. It also builds your overall strength along with improving self-esteem, which I think we can all agree is something very important to have at this age. Strength training is not just for adults. In fact, starting out with weightlifting as a 7 or 8-year-old will boost muscle trophism. What the heck is muscle trophism, you think? It's the building up of muscles through a healthy lifestyle through a balance of nutrition and strength training. In addition, when I refer to strength training, I'm referring to weightlifting. But I'm not talking about your typical dumbbell and leg press exercises. I'm talking about Olympic lifting. This takes significantly more technique, precision, and strength to master. Now, I know this topic has really nothing to do with morals. I bet most of you aren't going to try to put me in jail for saying kids should do weightlifting. At least I hope not. And I'm not trying to offend anyone who does not do weightlifting, since any form of exercise is great for the body. I do, however, think it is important to take care of your body, and there are many, many ways to do this. Remember, God gave us all unique gifts, and it is our job to use them for His glory. So in this speech, I will be addressing the pros and cons of weightlifting. I will show you how weightlifting is beneficial to everyone, especially kids like us. First, I will discuss some potential problems people have with weightlifting when it comes to youth. Next, I will go over how weightlifting improves your overall inside health as well as your outside health. Finally, we will learn how it is beneficial to children who are active in other sports as well. I understand weightlifting is a controversial sport. In fact, some parents have rejected weightlifting as a sport for their kids because they think it is too dangerous. I'm sure many parents would agree that they would rather not have their kid in the gym if they are serious about different sports. Nothing would be more devastating than getting really badly injured in the peak season of their other competitive sport. I I was not injured. I'm just going to say I was just a little tired. Okay. So this is all very understandable as parents want their children to succeed and progress in what they are excelling at. However, it is important to remember that as long as a child has a coach who knows what he is talking about, there should be no higher risk than any other sport. According to Dr. Jeffrey Nepley, a pediatrician, proper coaching should help kids learn a strength exercise correctly before adding weight, perform low-weight, high-repetition sets, take part in programs that mix weightlifting with other activities, such as running and swimming, warm up and cool down with stretching to stay flexible. There are many factors in making sure a child stays safe. It's not just about the barbell. My coach makes it clear that good nutrition, sleep, and recovery help alleviate some of those risks. So after hard sessions at the gym, the muscles need to be refueled. And how do we be refueled? By eating food. Protein is most necessary for muscles to rebuild from fatigued face during lifting. And of course, get enough sleep. Especially for children, sleep is essential for good recovery. When we sleep, our bodies repair our overworked muscles and tissues so that they can continue to keep growing. Also, if a child should be getting enough sleep anyway since they are still developing. So next time your parents ask you to go to bed, I would take their advice, because a bang energy is not going to sustain you for the rest of the day. Trust me. Finally, do not expect to lift every day. Weightlifting takes a massive toll on the body, and the body can only take so much strain. Rest days are just as important for muscle building as actual lifting days are. As long as these precautions are taken seriously, then it's easy to say everything will progress safely. Okay. Furthermore, I have gotten many statements about the way weightlifting supposedly makes you look. Many young teens, especially girls, opt to disregard weightlifting because they do not want to look too buff or muscular. Weightlifting has a reputation for making you gain weight. Usually, and understandably so, kids get a little discouraged when they see the number on the scale tick up after a few months of lifting. According to athletic trainer Chris Freytag, weightlifting can cause weight gain due to an increase in muscle mass. If you strength train regularly and improve your fitness level, your weight on the scale may increase while your body fat percentage decreases. So it is important to remember that muscle weighs significantly more than fat does, and just because you weigh more does not mean it's unhealthy. In fact, you'll be more healthy and physically fit. If a parent forces a child to do weightlifting for a way to help them look skinnier or to lose weight, then those are the wrong motives. Weightlifting is a sport which engages the whole body to build up muscles, not break them down. The scale should not be the only source of one's improvement. God created us all differently for unique purposes. For me, this has been a very discouraging struggle. However, knowing what I have achieved because of my build made me successful in my lifting journey. No one should be turned away from weightlifting simply because of the certain look it portrays. It is fascinating the things our bodies can do when we discipline and train them. Our physical appearance may change, but it should never negatively affect the way that we view ourselves. Famous author C.S. Lewis says, "You are not a body with a soul. You are a soul with a body, so you should treat yourself as such." Another reason weightlifting gets a bad rap is simply because too many kids are forced to do it, even if they do not want to. I understand that in other sports, such as swimming, basketball, football, and so on, gets the kids in the weight room because it is essential for their training. I agree, kids should be encouraged to try weight training sessions and see how they progress. But the key word in that sentence was try. Weightlifting is definitely not for everyone and therefore should not be taken lightly. During my interview with Sean Tuneman, my awesome weightlifting coach for about over 2 years, says weightlifting, just like all other sports, is a dangerous sport. And the risk of injury goes up when you aren't trying as hard or lacking attention. Progression doesn't show when you do not want to be there. You have to want to get better to get better. So don't be shallow-minded. There are hundreds of sports to go and try. A kid should love what they do, and if it's weightlifting, that's great. But if it's not, then it is important to redirect their attention somewhere else where they will grow. However, weightlifting is a great sport if he or she does not know what they want to do. Start with weightlifting, and you can always build from there. There's no harm in getting a firm foundation in strength training that will boost any athletic abilities used later on. Get a head start in the gym and get a head start on success in physical and mental toughness. So simply put, any child that does weightlifting will have a healthier body. We all know everyone has certain goals in mind when it comes to exercise. And for kids these days, exercise is becoming more and more vital for staying fit and healthy. It is easy for an adult to go to the gym and work on machines for hours, but what about kids? Well, for kids to achieve satisfying results, weightlifting will help in several different ways. First of all, it is no secret that lifting weights will physically make you healthier. Children who participate in lifting will receive an overall advancement in the way their body functions. Pediatrician Catherine Dehab says weightlifting can benefit many children in pre-adolescence by improving not only their health, but also their bone density, balance, lipid profiles, fat-free mass, and personal self-esteem. In addition, weightlifting works the entire body, giving every muscle a chance to improve in strength and density. Lifting can also be altered to fit the particular starting strength of a child. It is important to remember to do this correctly. Fitness expert Mark Rippetoe explains how weightlifting is safe, it's infinitely adjustable to the individual strength level, and the loads can be incrementally increased, so it's always programmed to produce improvement in strength, power, and bone density. Having the right coach will allow a child to train at his own personal level. Making sure a child lifts with proper form to avoid injury should come before anything else. And remember, no one is expecting a kid to go into the gym and lift 200 pounds on their first day. Moreover, as a child develops, their bone structure changes, and it is vital to keep their bone structure in check. Lifting puts a lot of pressure on bones and muscles, which forces them to strain under the number of weights they are holding, and results in the building of strength over a short period of time. Children who are still developing can develop quicker and stronger than those who avoid strength building sessions. The Mayo Clinic suggests weight training at least 3 times a week in kids, and even more as they grow older. As well as outside health, weightlifting also improves inside health. According to Tara Blatnick, a pediatrician, this type of exercise benefits cholesterol levels and cardiovascular health as well. Weightlifting improves more than one thing, and remember, consistency is key. Just like the biceps and quadriceps are muscles, so is the heart. Just like all muscle groups, the heart needs to remain healthy. Just like overall health is important, keeping the heart active is also important. The heart becomes stronger and could potentially last longer as it is used more. So starting weightlifting at a young age is something your older self and your older heart will thank you for. Another important thing to note is that weightlifting builds character through physical appearance as well as mental toughness. Muscle will show once a child becomes more committed to lifting. I know we addressed before that muscle can be seen as a negative aspect sometimes, but is actually a direct result of hard work and should be respected, especially at a youth age. As for mental toughness, nothing is more testing than a barbell. To be challenged by the bar, to be humbled by the bar, and to be transformed by the bar. Weightlifting, taking these thoughts to heart, will bring confidence every child should have while growing up. Another important thing to consider is that weightlifting can improve other sports a child participates in. As mentioned earlier, overall strength is improved with every session of training. Percentage-wise, children can improve strength by 30% to 50% after just 8 to 12 weeks of a well-designed strength training program. This is a massive improvement in over a short period of time. This new buildup in strength will no doubt benefit in the other year-round sports played. Weightlifting can never take away from a sport, only add to it. According to my weightlifting coach, it adds speed, agility, balance, and coordination. Weightlifting by no means has to be the top priority of a child's physical well-being, but done properly will aid in all other daily activities. Also, if a child is going from soccer to swimming and on top of that, weight training, a proper balance of healthy diet and rest is vital to prevent overuse injuries. As Coach Sean states, more is not always better. Now, weightlifting can always come alongside and just better the process if they are serious about other sports. In fact, during the interview with my weightlifting coach, he mentioned how younger kids should be encouraged to play other sports and have weight training on the side just a couple days a week, and to let lifting progress naturally. In addition, weight training can boost the process of hypertrophy. Catherine Dehab explains how hypertrophy is a way of building up muscles in kids who are active in other sports to help them become stronger years to come. The sooner hypertrophy begins, the better they will perform at their sport. Whether it's lifting or another sport, lifting can improve. Again, it is vital to remember that strength training can help protect your child's muscles and joints from sports-related injuries, help improve your child's performance in nearly any sport, from dancing to figure skating to football and soccer, and develop proper techniques that your child can use as he or she grows older. No matter what the background is for a young athlete, weightlifting will never hurt the development of making one better at what they love most. So I'm not sure if this makes a difference in where you stand with your sports. I do, however, hope that you consider these ideas to help progress your personal health and strength. As a former weightlifter, I have no regrets. The way it has shaped me into the person I am today makes it easy for me to say many positive things about it. No one should force you to do something you genuinely do not enjoy, but it is always exciting to try new things. Weightlifting is not just limited to older people or those gym bros you see on YouTube or on Instagram, whatever. It can also be for youth. Kids will notice the beneficial effects weightlifting has. The time spent in the gym is worth all the health improvements, general strength enhancement, muscle building, which can boost any and all athletic abilities. So, back to my story. I was standing there, with the heavy barbell still sitting on my sore shoulders, and I was thinking to myself, would I manage to get this over my head? I slightly bent my legs to get as much momentum as I could, and I jumped with all my might, as if my life depended on it. I wobbled at first, and my feet shifted from side to side. I held my breath, and I got really nervous. But then I stuck out the weight in a locked-out position right above my head, and a smile crossed over my face as the judge signaled for me to drop the weight. I was so excited that I got it. So all the time spent in the gym paid off in the end. For everyone, success will show if you're working hard, if you're hardly working. And never forget, kids can most definitely be stronger than adults. Trust me, I know it's possible because I'm stronger than my dad. Okay, question.
Especially for kids, as easily available and accessible as other sports for kids.
So the question was, is weightlifting for kids as easily accessible in other sports as other sports?
For kids.
That's a good question. No, because like I said, many people think lifting is not a kid's sport. But it is becoming more popular, and I know of several places that now are now open to that and now are training kids because it is really good for them. So, does that answer the question? Okay. Oh, yes.
You said that break days are just as important as the actual lifting days, so what would be like the ratio that you would give for that?
Okay, so the question was, what's the ratio to rest days versus lifting days?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good question. It depends on your age. If you're younger, then I said maybe 2 to 3 days a week in the gym. But as you're older, like I usually lifted 4 days. It's definitely different depending on who you are too, and depending on if you're doing other sports. Because the ratio is going to differ depending on if you're going from weightlifting to a different sport. So I don't have like a solid answer for that question because it just depends on the person. Does that answer it? Yeah.
Does conditioning intensities range, is it any different between males and females?
So the question was, does the intensities range between male and female for lifting? Like when you do a session?
Yeah, and like she's like the ratio, like rest days and things like that, like the whole practice of it.
Right. Is it different for males and females? Yes. Yes, in the sense that they lift different weights, but no in the sense that it doesn't really matter because, like I said, I'm stronger than my dad. But yes and no. It's hard to answer that question because, like I said, it is different depending on what they're doing. I know that when my coach scheduled a little bit different guys and girls percentage-wise on what they lifted, just because their strength level was different. So your strength level could be the same as mine, or it could be more than mine, or it could be less than mine. So it really depends.
But the development is about the
Development
same?
is the same, yes.
Okay.
Does that answer? Yes.
Are you gonna keep lifting weights in college? Is there like something to do, or are you just gonna do it on like a program, or are you just gonna do it on your own, or are you done for now?
So the question was, what am I going to keep doing with anything? No, I kind of retired from it. I finished up my senior year, and yeah. So the college I'm going to doesn't really have weightlifting. So, yeah. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
You mentioned that weightlifting is encouraged with other sports. Okay? If I flip it around, are weightlifters encouraged to do cardio other than weightlifting?
So the question was, are weightlifters encouraged to do cardio with weightlifting?
Other than the weightlifting cardio?
You're right. I hate cardio. So I'm trying not to have a biased answer to that. Personally, I don't like cardio at all. Cardio is not for me, but it does. And so weightlifting is up here, and your cardio could be down here, or they could level out. You can only excel at one. You can't excel at both at the same time. So if you want to do cardio, but you want to focus more on lifting, then I would schedule more days for lifting and just a couple days for cardio. Because you don't want cardio to take away from the lifting unless you are like more focused on cardio, then back off on the lifting a little bit. Does that answer your question? Sure. Okay. Any other questions? Yes.
So when is too young? When is it, because you don't want little ones because their bodies are developing.
Right.
So pulling on those bones that aren't fully formed yet may not be the best. So do you start out with like just using body weight resistance first and then advance to weights, and about what age would you make that switch?
Yeah, that's a good question. So she asked, what age should you make the switch from lower weight to more serious, and what age should you start lifting? I mentioned 7 or 8 year old is a good age, because I think younger than that, then it is too young because they are still developing, and you don't want to rupture any growth discs that could injure them for the rest of their lives. So I would suggest for a 7 and 8 year old, I mentioned low weight, super low weight, but lots of repetitions, just to get their muscles and bones like ready for what's to come years down the road. But at least their body will have that strength set in them already, that foundation, so they can build on there. Does that answer your question? Okay. Any other questions? Yes.
Exactly why or how does lifting weights build muscle?
So the question was, how does lifting weights build muscle? So when you lift a weight, your body's under this strain to keep it up, and so that strain causes your muscles to grow, because if it's pressed and then it's like released, it's like it grows from there. Same thing with bones. The bones have a lot of pressure on them, and it all just makes them stronger and healthier, and it grows from there. Does that answer your question? Okay, perfect. Perfect.